Welcome to another episode of FLEXX'N with Flex. I told you guys that I'll be working on my long form content for the ones that appreciate my opinion, my insight on sneakers and sneaker culture. This is the spot for that. And I just want to take time to talk about the current state of the sneaker game. I feel like we had to lose the hype to fall in love again with sneakers. A lot of people were getting bored with it, saying that sneakers were boring. I never really thought that sneakers were boring. I thought that was a crazy thing to say, but I respect everybody's opinion and I try to understand it. I try to view things from both sides. I'm a strong believer on the saying, it's only crazy because you don't understand it or you never experienced it. And so when someone said that sneakers were boring, I'm like, what do you mean by that? Like, what exactly do you mean that sneakers are boring? And I think once we lost that hype, we like to say we don't like the hype, but I feel like we got to admit, as sneaker lovers, we do like hype. Like there's just a little bit of it. Like there's certain aspects of hype that we like. Of course, we don't like missing out on pairs. We don't like when pairs get backdoored. That hype gives you that thrill of the chase for the sneakers. Also gives you that feeling that you get when people double take, look at your shoes. All comes from people wanting that pair. I feel like once we lost that, we had to find something to keep them going. And it got real interesting because that pushed designers, creators, and brands to really have to do something. Like, you just couldn't throw something on a shoe and put it out there and people go running for it. Because at one time, you could put a green, white, yellow, pink dunk and throw it out there and everybody was going for it. Or Air Jordan 1, everybody was going for it. And then once they realized, okay, wait a minute, they're not doing that anymore. We got to add a story. We got to add something to it to bring those consumers back in. And it got real interesting because it got people giving more thought into the design, more thought into the storytelling. And I feel like storytelling is a huge thing for sneakers and the sneaker culture. That's one of my favorite things when I look at one of my pairs. For example, we look at the J-Tips collaborations that we've been getting recently, and the story that it tells from, him coming from where he's from and where he's at now. So that's a beautiful thing to see. And when you get that pair and you look at it, you already want that pair. You're like, I love this pair already. But then you get the hints and the nods and the details to the story that they're trying to tell. It makes that shoe even better. I'm glad that we got back to that as we see the media rollouts, the activations that we're seeing now. 2020, we got hemmed up. We weren't going out as much and building a community wasn't really a thing anymore. And I feel like we're getting back to that. Even with that, I love the way that we're waiting on these trailers for these sneakers. It's kind of like as you wait for a trailer for a movie, now we're waiting for trailers for a sneaker. As we wait for Joe Freshgoods to roll something out, as we wait for J-Tips to roll something out, as we wait for James Whitner, Amamaner, and the Whitaker Group to roll something out, we're watching that media, we're watching those videos like, what's the story? I was very intrigued by the While We Were Sleeping campaign from Amamaner. I am excited to see these other brands stepping in, looking at these other brands, and it's very interesting because they're all fighting for our attention now. Because at one time I think these brands kind of catered to their niche of an audience and they really wasn't worried about pulling in from other brands. But now that they see that people are looking like, wait a minute, I actually like those 9060s, I actually like those Pro Grid Omni 9s. They're actually putting work in to grab the consumer's attention. They're putting work in these media rollout and these storytelling. It's a great time for a sneaker collector. It's a great time for sneaker enthusiasts, because that's what makes you fall in love with sneakers. That's what made you fall in love. That's what made me fall in love with sneakers. Really enjoying it because I can name all Jordans, and I can name all the silhouettes, and I can name all the renditions of the Breads and the Bread 11s and the playoffs and the playoff 11s, playoff 4s, and I can give you the history. But once you find something new and you're like, I actually like that. I actually like that silhouette. Oh, I like that story. Whoa, what are these? That's what makes you fall in love with sneakers again. Anything in life, you have to do the same thing to continue that love or keep up with it. It's just like working out. You got to continue going to the gym. Any relationship, you got to continue to build a relationship and feed that relationship. And the same thing goes with sneakers. You got to continue to feed into that passion or that hobby. This is doing that. When I'm checking out these other brands and I'm looking at these other silhouettes, I realize that a lot more beyond the horizon that I can see. I'm so glad that I took the time out to really look at Saucony as a brand, look at New Balance, Asics, and all these other brands. Like, don't get me wrong, now I'm still a Nike guy. I still grab my Nikes. I just got the oxidized green retro force for under retail. I know that we all seen it where we see a peak in sneakers and then it dies down, and there's another peak and then it dies down. I know we're gonna see that again. So I feel like with this time, when that peak happens, I don't believe that Nike and Jordan will be on front line of that. I feel like these other brands maybe that running sneakers are definitely trending right now. So I feel like Saucony, Asics, New Balance will be on that front line this time. So it's going to be harder to get those pairs. And once people start figuring out these stories, they start figuring out how limited this pair was or how important this pair was to the brand or the collaborator, then those prices are going to hike up, because we all know the resellers are finding something that they can resell. So once they realize, wait a minute, this person wore this pair, or this was the brand's first collaboration, or this was the brand's last collaboration, we know that's going to happen. I'm excited about what's currently going on in sneakers. I'm excited about the activations, and I hope moving forward in 2025 you'll see Flex more involved with these activations, more involved with these rollouts, these media rollouts and campaigns and stuff. Definitely working on something. Just want to tap in and let you guys and share my opinion on like the current state of the sneaker culture and the sneaker game, and this is just one aspect of how I feel. But you guys comment below, like, share, and let me know how you feel. If you agree with me, if you don't agree with me, that's fine, man. Chime in and we can start a conversation below. That's it. That's all I got for you on this episode of FLEXX'N with Flex, and I'll see you guys next time.